After a short deliberation, a jury has found Alex Murdaugh guilty on all counts. The 6-week-long double murder trial has come to an end. A look back on the road that led us here, coming up. News 19 starts right now.
The State versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for murder. Guilty. Verdict. The State versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for murder. Verdict. Guilty. The State versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. Verdict. Guilty. The State versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. Verdict. Guilty.
Today's verdict proves that no one, no matter who you are in society, is above the law.
A swift verdict in the Alex Murdaugh double murder trial tonight as the disgraced former attorney is found guilty of killing his wife Maggie and son Paul some 21 months ago.
The jury started their deliberations around 3:40 this afternoon, and 3 hours later they came back with a guilty verdict on all counts.
Murdaugh now faces 30 years to life in prison for the murders, with sentencing set for 9:30 tomorrow morning. Shortly after the verdict was read, Murdaugh showed little to no emotion. He was then handcuffed and then let out of the courtroom.
Tonight's quick verdict caught a lot of people by surprise. Sam Perez is here to walk us through what that moment was like when the verdict was announced in Walterboro.
People gathered right here on the front lawn of the Colleton County Courthouse in a big crowd as the verdict was read in the Alex Murdaugh double murder trial. I was sitting in the media center with a bunch of other reporters when we saw the TV feed from inside the courtroom have some movement. Instantly, almost every reporter stood up and sprinted across the street to the courtroom. Pretty soon, other people started gathering as they eagerly anticipated the news. I joined a whole crowd of people waiting in the back of the courthouse for the defendant to walk out. There was media, local residents, people who had traveled, all waiting together to see Alex Murdaugh walk out of court after being charged with the murder of his wife and son. People like Walterboro resident Kim Warner were gathered here at the front of the courthouse to hear from Attorney General Alan Wilson and the prosecution team.
It's like a celebration. Like I said, I was at home when I saw the verdict. I live about 5 minutes away, and I got in the car. I'm like, I've got to come down here. This is what I've been waiting for, and I want to be here with everyone.
While other local residents joined her, people also came from far away. Dawn Owen stopped through Walterboro after vacationing in Florida. She was on her way back to Pennsylvania, but then realized how close she was to the murder trial she's been closely following for weeks.
I'm just amazed that it came in 3 hours. I never expected that because it's such a circumstantial case, but I think it's the right verdict.
Murdaugh will be sentenced Friday morning at 9:30. Reporting in Walterboro, Sam Perez, News 19 WLTX.
All right, Sam, thank you. We're also hearing from Prosecutor Creighton Waters tonight and those who have been watching the trial from day one. Rachel Ripp is in Walterboro with that part of the story.
A chaotic scene on the courthouse lawn tonight as dozens of news outlets awaited the verdict, and locals gathered to document the historic decision in South Carolina. After the reading of guilty on all 4 charges, the full prosecution team came out of the courthouse to talk to the public directly for the first time.
Justice was done today. It doesn't matter who your family is. It doesn't matter how much money you have or people think you have. It doesn't matter what you think, how prominent you are. If you do wrong, if you break the law, if you murder, then justice will be done in South Carolina. And I think South Carolina has shown to the nation and the world how a process can work and work well.
Others from near and far, Virginia and right here in Walterboro, had thoughts to share after following along for half a dozen weeks.
I'm just really proud of them for understanding what the prosecution was trying to get, and also Judge Newman and the prosecutors for getting the jury to understand that it didn't have to be definitive, that they could use their common sense to understand all of the evidence and put that together and make a quick and easy decision. It was an easy decision.
I didn't make it inside. I was at home, had the TV on, was not expecting it to be tonight. I thought maybe they'd wait till tomorrow morning. But no, I was so nervous, just waiting to see what they were going to say and just so hoping it would be guilty. I'm just so proud of the jury because, everybody's been talking and saying, well, it's probably going to be a hung jury. They're probably not going to be able to make a decision. And I'm so thankful that the jury just stepped up and made their decision. And then when the judge asked each one of them individually what their verdict was, and they very loudly each spoke, yes, guilty, yes, guilty.
One woman said something in particular that stood out to me tonight. She said there are no winners here, with the victims not being with us anymore, Alex spending time in jail after this, and the Murdaugh family likely devastated. But there is one thing: closure. Reporting in Walterboro, Rachel Ripp, News 19, WLTX.
Rachel, thank you so much. There were mixed emotions from trial watchers here in Columbia after the verdict came down this evening. News 19's Peyton Lewis continues our team coverage. She was in the Vista and 5 Points getting reaction tonight.
Nightlife in Columbia is normally all about going out with friends, watching a game, and eating good food. But tonight, there was something else on people's minds.
I've been following it on TV.
The trial
All the time.
Over in the Vista, I caught up with Patrick Nagula. He's been watching the trial since the beginning.
I think he was connected in that counties and in that particular small town, and that pretty much helped probably to hide some of those things that the people in the public, they should have known before all of this happened.
But others like Karen and Andy Thomas are from Hampton and grew up around the Murdaugh family. They both said they knew exactly what the verdict would be.
I'm very surprised that he was found guilty.
And one man we spoke with in 5 Points says he's just happy it's over.
Because you know why? Because my girlfriend has been watching it for 24/7. All right, and it drives me crazy. I already knew the verdict, the guy's guilty.
But one thing all of the people we spoke with could agree on was how quickly the jury was able to decide.
2 hours maybe, and they had a verdict.
I was not surprised.
It took an hour and a half.
Reporting in Columbia, Peyton Lewis, News 19, WLTX.
I'm here at USC's campus where some say they've been following the Murdaugh family for years. Most tuned into the verdict on their phones, some streamed it on TV, others binge-watched documentaries just days before the trial ended. Almost everybody I spoke to, though, says they weren't surprised by the jury's decision.
Yeah, since the Mallory thing happened, I mean, everyone in Beaufort's been known about the family and the whole case. It's like when you finish a show, you got this relief on you. But it's more of it's just weird.
Nervous for what it was going to be. I mean, it's a huge trial going on, but I mean, I was pleased with it. I think a lot of people are pleased, yeah.
Alec and Buster didn't really have any physical sadness or anger. They were really indifferent about it.
I feel like throughout the whole time, him as a lawyer, he was trying to answer the questions as
he knew how to
he knew
politically correctly answer them. So then it made it more interesting to me.
In Columbia, I'm Nate Stanley, News 19, WLTX.